All right. Hello, everyone. Dr. Barry here again, and I hope that everybody's staying safe and healthy. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus situation throughout the world, but from a little different perspective. In my last video, I briefly discussed my background and mentioned that my education included formal training in areas both inside and outside the field of medicine. So this video is going to consist of some thoughts and the analysis of some facts surrounding how this coronavirus situation came about. Before medical school, I was in the United States Marine Corps with Force Recon in the 1st Reconnaissance Battalion. And part of the mission of Force Recon is to gather information, a major part of it, intelligence, and deliver it to command so that it can be analyzed, classified, and utilized to the best advantage of the military effort in order to achieve the goals. Now, it's extremely important to understand that in order to achieve a nation's political and economic objectives, typically military goals are established for this purpose, to facilitate this. So as an O203 or a ground intelligence officer, you receive special training in the field of intelligence and abstract analysis. So these people are trained to acquire a highly developed skill in viewing facts and information in a very different manner than someone untrained in these skills. After the military and during my medical career, I pursued and obtained a master's degree in a program for security and global studies, which offered a curriculum of national security studies with a concentration in security and intelligence analysis. Now, I never pursued employment in that field because I was in medicine, but it certainly had an impact in formulating my investment decisions over the years, knowing what's going on with the worldwide economy. So yesterday I was having a discussion with a group of friends who are still currently in the military with the Defense Intelligence Agency, and some interesting things were discussed. Now, I'm not about to divulge any type of classified information that would put me in violation of federal government laws or statutes regarding these things, but for those of you who are interested in this, you might find this video very interesting. You might even be as upset about it as I am once you see the big picture. So I want to share with you what I think after having this discussion with my colleagues. First, let me make it clear, okay? I am not what is commonly referred to as a conspiracy theorist. But that being said, I am also not one who suffers from the ostrich syndrome, sticking my head in the sand and ignoring or dismissing undeniable facts. There are, in fact, entities, whether they be corporations, governments, government agencies, groups of individuals, either criminal or otherwise, that develop strategies to achieve their goals, whatever they may be. Now, if you say that a company who has their executive committees engage in a strategic planning session to develop a strategy to acquire a greater share of a particular market, if you say that that is a conspiracy, then so be it. That just becomes, that's just because some entity plans something and then decides to take action to implement that plan, and you discover facts that cause you to believe it to be true. That doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist, as commonly thought of. The fact is that conspiracies are true. So conspiracies, under that definition, occur every day in every city and every country in the world. So what does this mean? And where am I going with this? Well, first of all, I'm angry. I'm angry about these thoughts that I have regarding how and why this entire coronavirus pandemic occurred. And the people who have lost their lives and the families who are still suffering those losses. I can't hold this in anymore, and I want to share with you what I think. Now, I believe there's little doubt that what's happening around the world was created as a result of politics and the media being weaponized to facilitate achieving the pre-planned goals for financial gain. There's just so much that went through my head that when we were having this discussion. I'm going to try to focus and get it out concisely. But let me start by going back to January of 2020. In January, the United States and China signed a trade agreement. Excuse me. And we thought, okay, now things are going to work out. And it's important to understand that the whole idea about the negotiation between the United States and China was simply because the Chinese government used to devaluate their currency to make their currency cheap so they could sell more of their products to the world and capture a greater percentage of the world market share, and thus become a dominant power in the world markets. And this was unfair to the United States and the rest of the world. So in addition to that, the devaluation of their currency, which is what President Trump referred to as cheating, China had a policy of what is termed handout technology. And this basically means that if you're a foreign country and you're going to invest in China, or you're a foreign company, you have to hand out your technology to China. You even had to take on a Chinese partner that would have the right to all of your patent secrets and technology for your particular industry and your products. Now, Trump had been arguing and fighting and pushing for them to sign this trade agreement whereby it would open the Chinese market to more U.S. companies and goods, and they would stop devaluating, manipulating their currency. Now, they signed the agreement the last week in January. But the Chinese, they're smart, and they were well aware that they were no longer going to be able to cheat the world and have an unfair advantage in the economic world market months before they actually signed the agreement during all the negotiations. And they saw the writing on the wall. They knew what was going to eventually occur. And so I believe they took steps and developed and devised a plan to compensate them for where they would end up with this trade agreement. They knew that the game was up, like I said, and they were going to lose literally trillions of dollars that they had been gaining, and that brought them to the economic power that they are today. Now, again, that was the last week in January. And at that time, the market was at an all-time high. We were getting ready to break through 30,000 on the Dow. So not even 2 weeks after that, the news about the coronavirus started leaking out and being talked about in the news media. And this was coming from out of Wuhan, China. Now, let's understand this clearly. A virus is a virus, okay? There are different types and classifications, but a virus is not a living thing like bacterium are. But I'm not going to talk about the biological and medical aspects of this. I'm a doctor and a medical expert, but I'm not a virologist. So I'm going to talk about numbers, data, and information. That's what intelligence deals with. Fact number one. As of today, there are 337,469 cases of coronavirus infections in the world and 14,647 deaths worldwide. So over a period of the past 8 weeks, when the coronavirus news started leaking out of Wuhan, 14,647 people have died from this coronavirus. Fact number two. During the same time period in the United States, more than 8,500 people died from the flu. Not the coronavirus, just the regular flu. Fact number three. On March 10th, the Chinese president was in Wuhan, and he announced that they had contained the coronavirus. March 10th. Fact number 4. Total coronavirus deaths in China as of March 18th, 5 days ago, was 3,245. Total deaths in China. Fact number 5. There were only 41 new cases and only 7 new deaths in China as of March 21st, 2 days ago. Fact number 6. There were only 39 new cases and only 9 new deaths in China as of March 22nd, yesterday. Now, this has been the trend in China of steadily decreasing new cases and decreasing new deaths in China, which indicates that they have in fact contained the virus and have already peaked the infection rate. Fact number 7. As reported by the National Health Commission, the NHC of China, for the 4th day in a row, there have been no new confirmed or suspected cases in Wuhan or Hubei. Fact number 8. The population of China is 1.6 billion people. And China is not a country known for its high-level hygiene. They don't have a high standard for their food control. They eat bats, snakes, insects, bugs. They have so many people to feed that almost everything that lives is on the menu. Fact number 9. When China first announced they had a coronavirus infection and other countries volunteered to send their experts to help China, China refused. Would not accept any experts from any country in the world, including the United States and CDC. So, can anyone explain to me how the coronavirus is slowing down and almost stopping in China while it's spreading like wildfire in the US, Italy, England, France, and the rest of the world? Can someone explain to me why Russia, a country of 146 million people that has 2,600 miles of border with China, only has 253 people infected? And Putin has announced that they have the virus under control. Can someone explain to me why India, a country with 1.4 billion people, whose border is literally only 100 miles away from China, has only 391 cases? And then look at a country like Italy that has a population of 65 million. They have more than 16,000 cases and 5,476 deaths. Here's what I believe. Like I said, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but here's what I really think from my discussion with my group of friends. The Chinese didn't like the agreement, the trade agreement with the United States that they knew they were going to have to agree to and sign. Trump pushed hard. He got them to agree and sign it, and they didn't like it. Their gravy train was over. So what do? Months before, when they knew that this is where they were headed, they devised a plan. And the plan was to put themselves in a dominant position in the world economic structure. So, what do? Let's use the virus that we've been developing in our biomedical labs. Let's get the world to freak out and cripple the world economic structure. If we're going to lose trillions, we will be the first country to emerge as the strongest economy in the world. This was their thinking. This is what I believe. China isn't the only country in the world that's engaged in experimenting with and producing biological weapons. We do it. England does it. Germany does it. France does it. Russia does it. Italy, Japan. Almost all modern countries do it. But most countries have the sense to do their test runs by using some covert operation to infect some small village in some third world country. China has so many people, and the communist regime doesn't give a damn, so they use it on their own people. Well aware that through the rate of tourism in their area, the virus was released in, there would be a high probability of infecting the rest of the countries of the world. This is why China refused to let experts from other countries, including the CDC in the United States, come to China to help. These people are smart, they're experts, and China knew the experts would be able to trace the cause of this virus to the true source, which was not some snake that bit a bat and their DNA got mingled and mixed together to create some mutated form of a simple virus. They knew that the foreign experts were good enough to trace it to their biomedical lab outside of Wuhan and discover it was a mutated form of the SARS-CoV virus from the outbreak back in 2002 and 2003, and that it was intentionally created in their own biological weapons lab. So, their strategy was to emerge as the strongest economy in the world. They knew they were going to take a hit. The world was going to take a hit. It was a chess game. They wanted, even though everybody's going to take a hit, they wanted to be in a position to emerge as the dominant economic power. So, and this is exactly what happened. Their strategy was to emerge as the strongest economic or the strongest economy in the world after causing the stock markets of the world to crumble. And the world economy did, in fact, and has, as we know, collapsed. The Chinese market dropped somewhere from 30 to 50%, depending on which sector you're looking at. So stocks went down, and guess who's buying these stocks right now and have been since the coronavirus started? Yeah. China nationalized the companies, but not by using bullets or violent force, not by arguing or negotiating or political decision, but by buying them at bargain basement prices. They bought the stocks. They're buying the stocks worldwide right now. Today, the U.S. stock market S&P is down 19%. The Dow is down 20%. England's market, 31.74%. Japan's Nikkei logged its biggest loss in 30 years. It's down 6.08%. And the Topix on the Tokyo Stock Exchange is down 12.5%. Do you know what the Chinese market is down today? As of March 11th, 2020, the Shenzhen Composite Index, the Chinese stock market, was down only 1.48%. Now, does this make sense? Gold was down on March 13th about 3.8% at $1,517.38 per ounce. For the past week, it's down more than 9%. Okay, so let's look at who are the top holders of gold. The United States, England, Japan, France, India, and China. Today, the gold goes down, and guess who's buying the gold? Yeah, you got that right, China. On March 13th, the CEO of Adidas was on TV. And what did he say? Quote, all of our factories in China are back online and producing at 100% capacity. That was on March 13th. The supermarkets in the United States and Europe are running out of supplies. Now, we have them in warehouses, but getting them out to the actual, where the population, to the supermarkets where the population can have access to them is still a problem for us. Nobody's been buying anything from China for the past month and a half, but now China has contained the virus and we're running out of supplies or access to them. You see what's happening here? Guess what's going to happen next? And watch it on the news. We're going to buy, and other countries, billions of dollars of supplies from China. because they're back online, producing at 100% capacity. What's going to happen to the Chinese economy when that happens? Bam! It's going to skyrocket. So from the discussions with the people I talked to, and from a simple analysis of the timeline of facts, this is what I believe. It just doesn't make sense. In fact, it defies all national logic that you only have about 3,000 deaths in China, a country of 1.6 billion people, excuse me, and 80,000 cases total. And they were able to control it and contain it within a few weeks. Why are they not sharing with the world how they controlled the virus? Why are they not sharing with the world what they did in the last 30 days to stop the virus? What did they do? What did they use? Why are we not getting it? Why is it still spreading? The entire Western world is being paralyzed. The Western world has been basically put on lockdown, shelter in place. No flying, no going to school, no going to work. Everyone is going to be home. All the sports tournaments are shut down. The casinos in Vegas are shut down. The theaters are shut down. The Grand Ole Opry and concerts and events everywhere are shut down. We're being paralyzed. Our lifestyle has effectively been taken away from us. Even after the terrorist attacks, September 11th, 9/11, we didn't experience this. This has been done to us on purpose. For God's sake, even Disneyland is closed down. The population of the United States is only 330 million, but the cases are growing at an accelerated pace. Why? What did they do in China to stop it? Now, some people who don't stop to think it completely through will say, well, there were cruise ships and airplanes of people that left that didn't know they were infected, that exposed thousands of people, and we're seeing the propagation of those early infections. But if you follow that thinking through thoroughly, you come to the immediate realization that the same situation existed in China. Okay? So in order to nip it in the bud, like China has done, so to speak, and prevent the numbers from escalating like it has in the rest of the world, as China has done, they would have to have known about it from the very first infections of 5, 10, or 20 people. Now, this would be impossible to know unless you were monitoring who was first infected and the people they came into contact with. This way, you could begin containment procedures long before the natural curve or the course of infections would have first alerted anyone that there was a problem, like what happened with the rest of the world. That would be the only way to keep the numbers in a country of 1.6 billion people so unrealistically low. During my discussion with my friends, they made me aware of an article in The Atlantic on March 19th. They told me that it caused a lot of concern in their agencies. Beijing is successfully dodging culpability for its role in spreading the coronavirus, and the evidence of China's deliberate cover-up of the coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan is a matter of public record. In suppressing information about the virus, doing little to contain it initially, and allowing it to spread unchecked in the crucial early days and weeks, the regime, the communist regime in China, not only imperiled its own country and its own citizens, but also the more than 155 nations now facing their own potentially devastating outbreaks. Even more distressing is the fact that the Chinese government censored and detained those brave doctors and whistleblowers who attempted to sound the alarm and warn their fellow citizens when they understood the gravity of what was to come. Now, China has a history of mishandling outbreaks, including the SARS back in 2002 and 2003 that I was involved with research in. But Chinese leaders' negligence in December and January, this past December and January, for well over a month after the first outbreak in Wuhan that they knew about and were monitoring, far surpasses those bungled responses or possibly test runs. The end of last year was the time for authorities to act, December of 2019. And act decisively they did, but not against the virus. No. They acted against the whistleblowers who were trying to call attention to the public health threat. China could not allow a few doctors and whistleblowers to spoil a plan for world dominance of the economy. This is what allowed this delay. This is what allowed the virus to spread across the globe, because you need time for people to get infected to disperse, for it to just automatically occur. Self-propagate, as they say. So Wuhan was a porous purveyor of the virus. Now, the government only instituted a lockdown in Wuhan on January 23rd, 7 weeks after the virus was first released. As events in Italy, the United States, Spain, and France have shown us, quite a lot can happen in a week, much less 7 weeks. It was then that Zhou Xianwang, the mayor of Wuhan, admitted that more than 5 million people had already left Wuhan. It's interesting to note, my friends tell me in the agencies, that a reverse proliferation study on infectivity reveals that if you wanted to design a virus or a situation to infect the world with any virus with similar infectivity rates, it would take approximately 5 million people to be exposed and then disseminated throughout the world for this to be assured of happening. Coincidence? 5 million people. They waited until approximately that many had been exposed. Then they announced and took action. So the facts show that China is undeniably responsible for this worldwide condition. But is this really a time for placing blame? Yes, it is. Accounting for responsibility when a disaster happens, particularly one that's likely to devastate entire countries and the world, leaving thousands dead, is not beside the point, especially considering that Chinese officials have moved to take advantage of this crisis and launch a disinformation campaign claiming that the United States Army introduced the virus in China. Now, as facetious as that and ridiculous as it sounds to most thinking, there are going to be some that hear that on the news. Oh, did you hear the news? It was the United States Army that did it. And there's always going to be some people that believe the lies and spread it. So let me mention a few more facts, because this is how the media has been weaponized in this strategic economic plan to bring the Western world to its knees and assist China in emerging as the dominant economic power in the world. And granted, some of this may have been done without the media's realization of it. But a lot of it, they're eager to just play into it because they want to take Trump down, our president. On March 11th, this year, 2020, at 9 o'clock, President Trump addressed the nation regarding the coronavirus outbreak. And the president doesn't ask for airtime on television unless it's a big emergency. He did for 10 minutes. But after 5 minutes of his address, I was watching it on my cell phone because I wasn't at home. And although I usually watch Fox, as you can see. I was viewing it on CNN because Fox was having trouble loading on my phone in the area that I was in. So 5 minutes into the president's address, national emergency for the people of the United States. The president is addressing the people. And it's a matter literally of life and death in many instances. What does CNN do? CNN interrupts the address and solicits me to subscribe to their services. At the time when the President of the United States is talking to the people of his own nation to get them information that could mean the difference between life and death, and that will affect our economy and our lifestyle drastically, CNN interrupts him just to try to make a few dollars for subscription to their services. These same networks, I'm sure it wasn't only CNN that would do that, but these same networks have been tireless in attempting to take President Trump down with lies, false narratives, deceitful presentations by editing what he said. I can do anything I want. They played that clip. Oh, he's president. He thinks he can do anything. He's a king. It's not at all what he was talking about. They didn't show it. He was responding to why did he fire or remove an ambassador? And the law allows him to remove an ambassador, as we all know, for any reason or for no reason at all. He can do anything. The president, not Trump, but the president can do anything he wants in removing an ambassador. And that's what he was speaking to. But they played it like, oh, I'm the president of the United States. I can do anything I want. If I want to come and take your car or your money out of your bank account, I can do it because I'm president. It's not at all what he was saying. In any event, I digress. So, these networks have done this type of stuff, and editing of what he said, the hoaxes, everything from the Russian collusion with the bogus Steele dossier and the Mueller report, the FBI abuse and corruption of its leadership. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, so let's try talking about immigration coming from Mexico and the wall. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, so let's try using the whistleblower for impeachment. Oh, the impeachment didn't work. Okay, let's talk about the trade war with China. Well, that didn't work. So they finally think about, hey, using the economy. Now, this is the president's greatest accomplishment. That's his strong point. And if they could somehow destroy that, then they think that they'll have a chance to win the election. People have been talking about how the unemployment numbers are way down, how the economy is great, construction is going on everywhere, traveling is happening everywhere, people have jobs, the African-American employment is at all-time low, Latinos are working more than ever before in history, everyone is having a good time, everyone is investing, except the liberal Democrats. Oh no, let's take the economy down so Trump can't use it to his advantage. Let's ignore the real reason behind the economic crisis, the coronavirus, and promote another false narrative and claim that it's Trump's policies that has destroyed the economy, not the coronavirus that China put into play. So they doubled down on this virus, and they're making money and trying to make money. The media, CNN, MSNBC, all of those who've been trying to take the president down. They are and this is what upsets me, they are helping to destroy our economy by selling us fear. They're destroying us and our lifestyle and our children's lifestyle by bullshitting us just for money and political gains, because the election is right around the corner. And understand something, my friends. Those who I had this discussion with and were enlightening me to some of this information, there are 7 of them in total. I'm the 8th member of the group. But 6 of them are Democrats. They didn't vote for Trump. But they realize, because they are patriotic Americans, and they know damn well that when our country, our people, and the whole world is under a death threat, we all need to unite and support our president. We can always fight with each other after the present foreign threat, the clear and present danger, has been overcome and eliminated. They realize that at this moment in time, we need to support him and not attack him. Because when you bring down the United States president, you're going to bring down the entire country and our way of life. So I would ask the media, why are you doing this? China, they know. We know. They want to be the largest, most dominant economy in the world. And they didn't like what Trump did to them, twisting their arm. They didn't like it with the tariffs and stuff placed on them. They were losing money. They didn't like it, and they didn't really agree with it. And they felt that it was okay for 3,000 of their own people to die and thousands of citizens from other countries to die. Now, they know it's not okay for 3,000 people to die in the United States. It's not okay for 3,000 people to die in Italy. And for sure, they know that it's not okay to lose any soul in the Western world, where even a single life means a lot. I'm very disappointed in our intelligence agencies. I'm disappointed that people in those positions didn't see this coming. I believe that many of them were so preoccupied with how to destroy President Trump and defeat him in the election that they missed what was really happening. They failed at their responsibility of intelligence analysis for the security of our country. China tried to put out a cover story that the U.S. did this to China to destroy the Chinese economy. Okay, but this happened, and where's the Chinese economy today? It's poised to be the dominant economy on the planet. So I wish the media would stop spreading the fear. I truly wish people, all people, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter, would boycott those media organizations. This is a time for all of us to come together to support the president, support our institutions. And this country is a country of institutions. This is a country that's been through the September 11th. This is a country that's been through the financial crisis in 2008. It's a country that's been through and survived the debt crisis of 1999. This is a country that has been through the savings and loan crisis with 1,200 banks shut down in 1992. It's a country that had Black Monday in 1987. This is a country that went through the hyperinflation where mortgages were 18% in the 1980s. This is a country that's had wars and been through so much, no matter how badly the stock market went down over the last 187 years, it has always bounced back. This is just what we do. It's the nature of the beast. It's painful, it's distressful, and it never feels good when you're losing money. But as long as we survive as a country, even though we have differences, I know that our lives, our children's lives, will have a future, and money will be made back. And there's no point to panic. I'm not panicking. I'm angry. I'm angry at what happened from China and from the lack of attention at the intelligence agencies and from CNN and the media and everyone who's trying to be like vultures. They just want to attack the United States president and the economy solely for political and financial gain. Anyway, I hope all of you are staying safe. We're going to get through this. We're coming through it. And stay healthy. Social distancing, washing, all of that. God bless all of you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.